my Nortontown Road story in the mail.
Good morning. I'd like to call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. It is Tuesday, February 18th. It's 8:31. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Selectman Havertide to lead us, please. Behind you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And yet we have another snowstorm. Well, we all made it. Item 2, public forum, limited to 3 minutes on any agenda item. Don't see anybody wishing to address the board. Okay, item 3, approval of the minutes for February 4th, 2014, which was a regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any additions or corrections, comments?
Joe, yeah, if I can make a comment. We talked about putting the Paynes Lane Waste Treatment Study out of operating and funded out of the land acquisition account.
Yep.
My recollection is that's what we've done before, which is kind of borrow from the account in anticipation of repayment from other sources. Is that
Correct.
accurate?
Correct.
We've tended to use that as an alternate source on temporary basis. Okay.
Okay. Anything further on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for approval. Motion was made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 4, Finance Director Sheila Volano, received monthly report from Finance Director.
That was in my own.
No, we don't need that.
Okay.
No. It's during regular
Good morning.
hours.
Good morning.
Okay.
Morning, Sheila.
It was in there without a.
Gary, can I ask if I could borrow your expenditure report? My packet is missing. In the meantime, I'll share. We'll start with revenue. Good morning. Okay. As of January 31st, we've collected 95.17% of our revenue budget. Tax collections are at 96.14% compared to 94.98% last year. And still, we don't have the last day of the collections, the current collections, which is February 1st on this report. So it looks very good, but I still think that we're going to end up where we always end up every year at about 99.7% collection, 99.6%. The tax collectors consisted on collecting most of the levy. Some of the state revenues are ahead of where they were last year, and that's just a timing issue as well.
When you say state revenues,
At the bottom, state of Connecticut, we're 77% versus 50.
they're not in any of the other accounts. Okay.
No.
Understood.
Yeah. Any questions on revenue?
Okay.
Expenditures are at 66.3% versus 65.8% last year, still very close to where we were last year. With the storms excluded from the numbers, we are at 66.3% compared to 65.84% last year, very close as well. I know that there's concern over the public works overtime with the storms, and right now we have exceeded the budget.
Did we exceed their?
And we don't know what the overtime is for this week yet at this point. We're putting in the payroll right now for last week, Joe. I think you may have gotten the hours.
Prior to last week, we were at 93% of the overtime budget. So they were a week behind in getting paid, so I don't have the payroll for that.
Right.
Because yesterday was a holiday, they're putting the payroll together today, so Sheila's comment that we're going to be over is probably absolutely correct. Okay. But, you know, that's...
Did they come in early this morning, Joe, or they?
No, it didn't start snowing.
So maybe
until 8
today
o'clock.
won't impact them?
I hope
It's
not.
supposed to stop.
It's
by midday.
supposed, yeah, it's always supposed to stop.
No, I know.
It does. I'm still laughing about it, so that's okay. All right? Anyway, we're going to be...
Pam's day to be responsible for.
Yeah. We're going to be very, that time, we're going to be over. There's no two ways about it. As far as materials go, we're going to be probably over, expended on materials, that's salt and sand and ice be gone. As far as inventories go, we're in pretty good shape. Our Public Works people have been keeping on top of it. Besides the state looking out for the municipalities, so is CCM. And early on, I've gotten some contacts that we can call upon if we need some more material, but right now we're fine, okay? For this storm. Who knows what's gonna happen the next. It's gotten to where it's, Carl, you can appreciate this, it's gotten to where it's storm by storm, you know, and then at the end of the year, we usually, end of the season, we fill up for the first storm of next season, so that's where we're at.
And I think that I've said this before, the departments do a good job of managing their budgets, and we've had these situations before where we haven't had FEMA reimbursement, and we haven't, I don't remember doing a transfer into Public Works department at the end of the year, so we're just gonna wait and ask them to try to hold the line if they can.
They'll manage their budgets, and they know that every department head meeting we have, every monthly meeting, I preach the gospel about managing your budgets, and they do a great job on it. And Public Works and Engineering, which is one department now, will work within their budget. If they can't, then we always have a contingency fund, and that's what that's there for.
Okay. Any other questions?
Anything else on expenditures? Anything else you want to bring to our attention?
No, not really, remains okay. Just touch on medical. January was a little bit better than November and December. Still projecting a deficit of $602,000 for the year. But our stop losses have come into play on several, I think it's about 4 or 5 different contracts. So we won't be seeing more claims on those particular ones, but there are several other ones that haven't reached a stop loss yet. So we're probably going to be very close to that $600,000.
Okay. Anything else on finance? Any questions for the finance director? Okay, Sheila, thank you. Our next item on the agenda, item 5, town clerk. I do not see her in the audience. I'm going to table this at this point if anybody has an objection. I'll move to table. Second, okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. This is really just kind of a formality, but I'd like her to be up here. Item 6, Parks and Recreation, remove from, 6.1, remove from the table and take possible action on a request for a change order for the design and construction contract administration work to be performed by William Thompson, AIA and Associates LLC for the construction of Chittenden Park Trailhead Boardwalk. Oh, Rick, you're right here, okay. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If I can first mention, we had our annual Winter Festival yesterday, and our staff did a great job putting it together. We had several hundred people show up, and it was a beautiful, sunny, bright blue, 25-degree day. But it was nice. We had things inside the community center and outside, and it was good activity. A lot of people came to it, so we appreciated that, people responding to it. So the Chittenden project, I came last meeting, I think you want some more information about the change order here. And I want to give maybe a little more detail of where we are. The original bid was $16,440. We're over that by about $3,900, and a lot of that was because of extra work that Will had to do for some of the town requirements. There's a change in a zoning ordinance, there was a variance for velocity zone requirements for structures down at, along the waterfront areas. So There's some changes there. The DEP changed, the person who was working with us on the project changed midstream. There was a John Goucher who worked with us early on. He had certain requirements, changed to another person, Krista Romero. She had different requirements, and Will had to make changes to the plan, and so there was a lot of extra work that was required by DEP. And then there was also $1,000 that was in there for soil scientists that was not anticipated we were gonna need. So, all that totaled $3,910, and those are all things, again, because of changes mainly from DEP and one thing from the town, a different velocity ordinance. Beyond that, he is requesting $2,800 for the contractor procurement and construction administration. And the reason for that is when we signed the original contract with him, originally his quote, $16,440, was with the Jacobs project and the Chittenden Boardwalk project being concurrent. So it would have been one set of specs, thinking it would be the same contractor doing both. The reason we couldn't do both is that the STEEP grant, which was the $500,000 funding source for the first phase of the Jacobs project, specifically said it had to be for Jacobs Beach. We were hoping we could tie both projects into that, and we couldn't. So we were not able to do both projects at the same time. So that's why the Chittenden project was not done at the same time. We just, started doing that, I guess in the last 6 months or so. And so anyway, his original quote was based on doing them together, and he had already said that was with the projects being concurrent, but now they aren't. He had to do a whole separate set of specs, and then the oversight of the project. If we did both, he could be looking at the Jacobs project and Chittenden at the same time, and one visit. So anyway, that's the reason for it. The Parks and Recreation Commission unanimously supported it at our meeting last Monday night, and the recommendation was to come back to the board and ask for approval for the additional funds for Will to continue the work.
I guess the question that I have is, this particular project, the Chittenden project, is coming out of a grant, correct?
Well, not a grant per se, it's being funded mostly, it's being funded by the Connecticut Forest and Park Association. It's not a state agency, it's an independent group.
It's a private grant?
Yeah.
Okay. I failed to see how that was tied to Jacobs. All right, now, I know if Will is on site, it makes it a lot easier for him, but I think we've got to separate one from the other. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, now, the walk was designed when?
Oh, boy, times when it started? Boy, I'm trying to think back. I think we started, maybe, I'm gonna guess November or October of 2012, maybe. It's been about a year.
Okay.
Initial.
So were both walks designed at the same time?
No. Well, so the first phase, the original Jacobs project wasn't the boardwalk. It was the, working with the, redesign the parking lot and making the changes to the bathhouse. Phase 2 was the boardwalk. I don't remember Will's timeline when he designed the boardwalk for Jacobs and when he designed the one for Chittenden. Some of the design might have been happening during that time, Joe, but then there were those other changes I mentioned, the requirement for the town variance for the velocity zone, and then the new DEP requirements.
Okay, Rick, just refresh my memory. The approval, do we need an approval from P&Z on the walk?
We've had it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was the approval made prior to these changes and regulations?
I'm trying to think dates.
All right.
I believe it was in June, maybe June, July, that Will was notified of the new code or variance, for the velocity zone.
And forgive my ignorance on this, but if the project was approved by planning and zoning prior to the zone changes?
It wasn't.
It wasn't? Okay, that was my question.
The CAM was in the fall.
Why don't you come up here, please? Good morning, Will.
Good morning.
This is Will Thompson.
So, first of all, a couple things. Chittenden was written as an alternate onto the Jacobs agreement. But it was always intended, it was to be concurrent. The timing very early got out of sync, to do with both approvals and to do with funding. So then what occurred is, as we started to ramp up Chittenden, the new velocity zone, basically it was a statute that the town brought in. It was like, I think it was announced around June of last year. I noticed it in a notice, and I went and chatted with the town and said, do we want to move this ahead so we don't have to get a variance? But the decision was not to, so then we got a variance during summer. That ended up being in August, the actual variance. CAM approval was in the fall of last year for the project.
Okay, so it's not that this project was grandfathered. That's what I was trying to get at.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't grandfathered.
No.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get at.
That's
Okay,
correct.
Good, that makes me feel better then. Okay, so what we're approving here, Pam, is just
It's basically.
an increase to the bid, right?
Yeah, it's a change order
Okay.
is the way I would describe it, and the total, you can double check this, what, 6,715?
Well, that's including additional services to date. Is that how you're writing it? Because in essence, I've asked for this remaining 2,800 to finish the project. In other words, in our agreement, we have scope defined what's included, services, and then at what point services become additional services.
Okay.
You know, for example, if there are many more meetings and so on, and anyway.
All right, so what is the amount you're requesting, a change order?
Wasn't it 2,800 is what we, or have you written
I
it?
think it's also because.
But I thought there was
It
30
never came
okay.
back to the board when it went over the original bid amount, so I think that
So-
what you've learned from this.
Retroactive. basically. Yeah.
Retroactively, you're asking them for the amount you already went over the bid, plus this future 28.
Yeah.
So-
I'm looking at a number, I think Selectman Cartier is too, of 3915, is that correct?
That's the one,
That-
the amount you've already spent,
that's,
correct?
Yeah, the additional services that we have
Right.
been billed for.
Okay, so it's not 2,800?
No, it's what, like Pam said, it'd be 6,715,
Yeah,
I guess.
Okay,
yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
okay. So, will that do it?
That, based on the scope we have, we're good to go. We're evaluating bids right now.
Okay, okay, great.
All right, so permitting's done, design is done,
Correct.
and we're at the bid
Bids are
process.
in, we're evaluating bids right now for the contractor. And we're trying to clarify the detail of that, and then we can decide on award. And the actual project is being funded through the Connecticut Trails, you know, the New England Trail.
So the only thing that could have you coming back is if the bids don't work out
They-
what we anticipate.
That's
Yeah.
next on the agenda, I think.
Yeah, no, I would think, but they're looking kind of in the right realm. I mean, we're not done with the evaluation, so I don't wanna.
Okay, so this, potentially,
Yes.
this is not the end, but it
It-
probably is.
It is, I mean, in that we've got the scope established, you know, so.
And when will the work be started and completed, Rick? Like, what are they? It's a-
Well, the goal is to start by mid-March.
That's, okay, it'll
Yeah.
be done for the summer, like
Mhm.
June.
Yeah, we want to be done before the June 8th dedication, the trail dedication.
Yeah, okay.
Same with the Covenant Memorial. Yep.
Yeah, same day.
Okay.
Okay, this was tabled at the last meeting, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, so we have to remove it from the table.
And I make a motion that we remove this from the table. for
Second.
purposes of-
All those in favor?
Aye.
We actually should have done it before. All right, and is there a motion on this to approve the additional expenditure?
So we're.
Well, let's make a motion
Yeah,
for discussion purposes.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we approve the additional funding of
3915.
Plus 20, yeah,
Plus
so
20,
it's,
Okay,
67.15.
okay.
Okay, that was my question. So we're dealing with both
Yeah.
of those numbers in this first resolution.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? The only thing I will add, and I'll repeat, is that these are not being, project's not being funded with town funds. It's funded with a private grant from the Connecticut Forestry and Trails
Forest and Park Association.
Park Association. Okay.
Except for this additional.
No, this would be part of
This
it.
part of it too? No?
Well, no, the
this isn't.
construction, however, depending on how they do with their fundraising, they will pay us back for
Right.
will services
Okay.
if they come
If
up with
they
enough
get
money
it,
to do
remember
that.
that was the whole thing.
Yeah,
But if not, we had talked about coming out of program.
it comes out of our
funds.
program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think the motion should reflect that anticipated expenditure will come out of the
Program funds.
the grant from the Connecticut Park and Forestry Association. If they do not have, we don't get enough funds from them for this additional expense, it would come out of program funds.
No, it's not the grant, Joe.
Well, yeah, I think that what the commission approved was coming out of our program funds. If they raise enough money, then they'll reimburse us
Okay.
for at least part of it. It may not be the whole amount, but
It's
whatever.
basically, I just said it maybe backwards. but-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Trace, do you have that in some sort of correct English? Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Not opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 6.2, discuss and take possible action to award bid 26-1314, construction of the Chittenden Park Trailhead Boardwalk.
Yeah, we're gonna ask to table that. We did have the bid opening on Friday. It was gonna be Thursday with the snow, pushed back to Friday. And the numbers came in a little high, and I had some conversation with the Connecticut Forest and Park Association late Friday, and they are going to look into other funding sources to come up with the additional money that we need. I don't have that commitment from them yet. I told them we'll need something in writing. Over the phone, Claire Kane said, yeah, I think we could do it. So like, I need something more than that. We have to have, firm agreement that you're gonna be able to cover the difference.
Right.
So, it was Friday afternoon, it was like 4:30, and she wasn't even in her office, so.
I'll move.
I'm gonna talk with her again today and see if, we can get something committed. If we can, Joe, if we can ask for maybe a special meeting later in the week, if we get that commitment, because this is kind of time sensitive to get this thing started in March.
I know the Trails Committee is meeting this afternoon, 6:30.
Are we close? Or is it
Uh,
10%,
we got a little way
20%,
to go.
30%?
Not from what I've seen, we're not close. Okay.
Yeah.
Get your funding in place,
Yeah.
or redesign, or not redesign, or rebid, or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And then, when you're ready, if it does not fall within a regular selectmen's meeting, I'll be happy to poll the board and see if we can have a special meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
So I'll move we table.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Aye.
Hopefully it'll work, Rick.
Okay, see our town clerk is here. We'll go back to item 5, which we did table, so we need a motion to bring it back.
So moved.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Morning, Anna.
I'm sorry, I thought it was March 3rd. That's what I had it down for.
Right pew, wrong church.
Yeah, you got it, yeah, okay. This is for a grant, I'm applying for a $5,000 grant from the state of Connecticut, the Connecticut State Library, for the backfile conversion of 50,000 pages of land records. And we did this last year, we had a $4,000 grant last year. So basically, this is just to pass a resolution that will allow First Selectman to execute and deliver in the name and on behalf of the municipality a contract with the Connecticut State Library for a historic documents preservation grant.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you very much.
That was very good.
Do you want to come back for the third?
No.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay, item 7.1, discuss and take possible action on approval of an employment contract for the temporary assistant building official for the new Guilford High School, RFQ/RFP 4-1314. Do Bill. Pam, you want to join us on this, please? I'll start off by just giving a brief summary for the board. I guess it was 6 months ago, correct me if I'm wrong, we
About that.
hired George Godovan as a temporary building official, part-time, for the inspection of the new Guilford High School. That was based on an estimate that we received from the construction manager. The estimate was how many hours we would need to inspect the building. Once we got into the project, I say we, the building officials, Bill and George, it turned out to be that there was a lot more work than we were advised of. And our main concern as a town, and as Board of Selectmen, should be the safety of the building in its construction, on how it's constructed. So we met with the building committee, and they agreed that we do need some more help in inspecting this. It's a huge project.
Yeah.
It is a huge project. I mean, it looks even bigger when you see when you go up there and look at all the steel. So the prudent thing to do was to hire an additional temporary, part-time building official to assist on the inspection of the project. Pam, you want to pick up from there, or Bill?
Yes, and just also as a double check, I consulted with Jeff D'Onofrio, our construction lawyer that we've been, has given us advice throughout. And he basically, based on his experience with other high school, building projects, definitely thought that Bill is accurately describing kind of the workload and what needs to be done. So, and frankly, what Jeff D'Onofrio said is you basically defer to your building official to really be the expert to understand what is needed. And so this contract is before you, because we actually have a town ordinance, Chapter 148, which authorizes the Board of Selectmen to appoint a building official or any other persons required for the administration of the code. So technically, that's why this contract is before you.
So this is an additional person?
Yes.
Okay. So-
Yeah, it's an additional part-time person.
Okay.
So, in effect, that we'll have pretty much one full-time person.
That's what
i.e.
yeah.
two-
So George
two
didn't want to work
part-timers,
full-time?
doing, basically covering that project.
Okay. And where do the funds come out of? Is this part of the school
Part of
budget?
I am in discussions with the building committee. We're
Okay.
meeting this week,
Thursday,
I believe,
yeah.
to talk to them about the numbers.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Okay.
'cause-
The original agreement with the building committee, and again, it's a committee that reports to this board,
Yeah.
was that Mr. Godovan's compensation would be charged to the project. Let me just take that back a minute. Not his compensation, but we would charge an appropriate building fees to
Cover the company.
cover the amount of compensation from Mr. Godovan. That will be the approach we're going to take with this building official. Like, now, if we were to charge the school, which we're charging ourselves, it would be several hundred thousands of dollars for the inspection, and that's ridiculous. We're not going to do that. Just cover the fee. That's my point. Okay.
And again, that's, Jeff D'Onofrio also talked about how other towns have dealt with that issue, because it is a common issue. And instead of waiving the building permit fees, what other towns have done is, in fact, do just that. They charge maybe not the entire fee, but a portion
Right,
to
to
cover
offset.
that. And that's,
Okay, that makes sense. I guess.
Gary?
Now, is George not working full-time?
Correct.
And he doesn't want to work
That
full-time?
was a question. Or maybe.
Right, well, if
So
you.
this is an additional,
Yes.
a separate person from George going
Right.
full-time.
Correct.
Would that have provided enough coverage?
One person full-time?
Right.
Well, we can do it that way,
Right.
but what happens.
I
is
understand
that-
he's retired, he may not want to work.
Yeah, you know, in order to get the expertise to do these types of buildings, you need someone who's been around for a while. And generally, that means an older person that maybe don't want them jumping
Okay.
around the steel, 8 hours a day.
Okay.
Understood.
You know, us older people get.
I know, I understand, I'm just trying to figure out,
We're going for the. we're
Maybe
going
they're
for the
gonna have that
experience.
conversation.
You guys are speaking for
I was
yourselves, right?
just trying to figure out whether this is a person and a half or a person plus or.
No,
it's just-
this will be two, we'll call them less than half-time.
Okay.
We're staying, 19 hours or less than 20 hours per week, and it's a straight salary, no benefit type deal.
And do you have somebody in mind?
Yes, we had, we went out.
Why don't you
for
explain, we went through the
bids.
bidding process.
Yes,
okay?
we went out for the request for proposals, and we had one bidder. We sent courtesy notices out, we tried to drum up some interest, but we had one bidder, and
We had one bidder who basically is a retired official, kind of like a George, he's a fully licensed building official with the state. He's an electrical inspector with the state. He's a licensed electrician, owned his own company, very experienced in large buildings. So we figured he would be a good candidate, and he's also agreed to work for the rate that we had originally looked for.
Bill
And-
negotiated the rate, which was great.
Yeah.
And he's available.
Okay.
And keeps the project on schedule.
Yes, that's the main thing. Right now, we have it worked out that issues that normally would stop the job or slow things down are right now being worked out right in the trailer. So,
Well, that was part of the whole discussion. I
Yeah.
mean, we could have stretched out the project, but we
we don't want to do
don't.
that.
Right.
Nope.
And his name is Louis
Acampora.
Acampora out of Madison.
Okay, I guess I'll entertain a motion at this one.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? See none, all those in favor of the motion? Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, why don't you hang around for a second for the next
We're,
one?
we're looking at bringing them in, right now, things are controllable, George has got it under control, but very shortly, when the decks are fully installed on that building, they're gonna be going crazy out there, so I would say sometime March would be when we wanna bring them in.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8,
March isn't very far away.
consider and take possible
the weather
action on
that's slowing them
an
up.
alternate public hearing date of Thursday, March 6, 2014, 7:30 PM at the Community Center for the Long Hill Road project as required by state in the event that inclement weather postpones the first date. Sorry for snickering there, but this is a requirement by the state now that we pick an alternate date so we don't have to cancel the meeting and redo it again. So we do have the original date, which I don't have in front of me, but 27th of February. But this would be the alternate date, so it's just a matter of protocol that we approve this, or set it up. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the alternate date of March 6, 2014, 7:30 PM at the Community Center for the Long Hill Road project.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Aye.
Appointments and resignations, act on a resignation received from Jim Galvin from the Board of Fire, for the Board of Fire Commissioners. Do I have a motion?
So move with regret.
Definitely. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Act on a recommendation to appoint Stan Solarski, did I say that right? To the Energy Task Force.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 10, request for the use of town property.
I would move that we approve the 2 uses and 1 sign as delineated in the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Correspondence, building officials, monthly report. And we have the Public Works monthly report. And we could see the Public Works has all the overtime in there for the month of January. Okay, and it's just about all snow-related and ice-related, excuse me. Any comment on either one's report?
That is what it is.
That is what it is. And I've got to say, let me comment on just the operation of that department. They have been doing a outstanding job considering the conditions and what they have to work with. I know people get a little bit impatient when their street is not plowed within what they consider due time, but these guys have been stretched to the limit on their time, particularly, who said to me this morning that at least we got a storm that's during the day.
Yeah.
And not on a weekend or a holiday. But they're exhausted, so just have to ask people to cut them a little slack. They're doing the best they can, considering that we have to worry about material shortages, which we're okay with right now. But every 2 or 3 days, we have another storm in the last 2 weeks. And they take a day or so to clear it up, and day after, they're back into it again. But I want to congratulate them for the job they've done so far. And let's hope this period of snow and cold weather finally leaves us for the season. So.
And just to reiterate what you said, I mean, there is a system. They do the through roads first.
That's correct.
I know I got a call because there was a truck that did one of the neighborhoods behind me. They have to go back and get fuel and sand and whatever. You know, so somebody called. Well, they did the road next to me and then they left. Well, you know, an hour and a half. You know, they were back. But you know, just you have to be patient. And if you're on a cul-de-sac with 2 houses, you probably will be among the last to be done because there is a system and there is a priority.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because the primary roads obviously are done first, and that's obviously your major roads. Your secondary roads come next, and then tertiary or your cul-de-sac or subdivisions are last. That's the way we have to do it. We can't change it, and that's the way it's done throughout the state and in parts of the country where they get a lot of snow. So, but I appreciate everybody's patience on that.
Thank God you're not living in New Haven.
No comment. Any old business? Any new business?
Just that the GPA, Guilford Preservation Alliance, had a meeting yesterday morning to talk about a new initiative to save the water tower and the engine house down at the train station.
Yeah.
And our state legislators were there, except for Vindy Candelora, and Ned Meyer made the point that we've got to include him in any of these kinds of activities. But the GPA will be writing the Board of Selectmen a letter requesting just your moral support for this, that will include no liability or responsibility or financial obligation at all, just that the Selectmen support the initiative to save these buildings.
Who owns them at this point?
Amtrak. They're in the right-of-way, and,
No way they're gonna transfer them, right?
well, we don't,
They
the
own-
town voted a while ago not to accept, because we don't have the level 1, level 2 research done, and the water tower probably very clean, but there may be something with the engine house, we're not sure. But the new thing is, the engine house roof was damaged during Sandy, and there is federal monies to stabilize historic buildings that were damaged by Sandy, so we're going to try and get some of that, because the roof needs to be temporarily fixed so that it doesn't continue to deteriorate.
There are a couple of neat buildings if there's any. I mean, it was
Yeah.
tragic losing that train station.
Well, is Amtrak working with you?
We've got a good relationship with them,
Yeah.
and also
Maybe
the
they'll
state
just donate
agency.
it to the GPA. Maybe they'll just donate the buildings to the GPA.
I don't know what their thinking is, Amtrak's thinking is as far as giving up the buildings, but if they could be restored,
Because we're not.
you know, there's also a reuse, like for the water tower. It could be a coffee shop, tourist kiosk kind of thing, like a gateway. And of course, the state's still working on parking on the north
Yeah.
side, so it's a work in progress. But anyway, as soon as I get the letter, I'll bring it in. And,
You know, just one comment about Representative Candelora. He's an excellent representative who represents District 4, which is North Guilford, plus part of Wallingford, Durham, and North Branford. And because he's in 4, we kind of all forget about anything we're involved with down here. And so I would appreciate if they contact him or let me know. I'll get in
yeah,
touch
well,
with him.
no, Ed made that point very clear yesterday morning, that we need to include him on all of these initiatives that we're working on.
And even though, like, for instance, with Lake Quantipoc, he was up there with us, with Ed, and Representative Widlitz was not, because it wasn't a district, but when I'm looking for money, I go to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Our friends at Rex, and I don't know whether it's applicable in this situation, but they have money available for environmental
yep.
cleanup issues, so you may want to.
Yeah, but the studies have to be done first.
They do,
Okay.
and sometimes you have to lay the money out first,
Okay.
too. That's the problem with.
Just might have a conversation with Brian on that, okay, because he's our representative in Rex.
Yeah, they also made that point that we need to bring Brian
Yeah.
into this issue.
Okay, anything else on new business? Thank you, Carl. Public forum, I don't see anybody looking to address the board. Item 15, consider and take possible action on a personnel request from Guilford Supervisors Association. The executive session will be required. Do I have a vote to go into executive session?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And invite the Human Resource Director and the Finance Director. I will need a motion to come out of executive session, please.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion to come before us.
We go ahead.
I'll make
You
a
try it.
move that we grant the employee request for compensation for a 30-minute lunch period for days that she was unable to take lunch due to circumstances in the office, and that it not be paid until or at retirement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Seeing no further business to come across the Board of Selectmen, I will ask for a motion to adjourn, but before I do that, I just want to remind the seniors who have been participating in the tax relief program, or tax freeze, that the enrollment period had begun beginning of this month, February 1st through May 15th, so get your applications into the assessor if you want to be part of the program again this year. Okay, I'll take a motion.
So move to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Carl.